Okay, here we are at the veg garden. It's just got a few pumpkins growing in there, as we can see. Where is it? Over there. And that's ruby saltbush, some dill, and of course we've got some sunflowers. This is Aztec corn. I'm hoping I'll be able to pollinate it with just those few plants. I couldn't buy very many of them. And lots of sunflowers. These will be my seeds for next year. Got pumpkins growing in the trees. More sunflowers and chilies I just put in yesterday down here. And then we've got a bit more corn. There's a couple of raised beds not being used. Strawberry guavas. And we go up here and we've got our normal guava tree. So, moving down the side. Don't see our bins. Okay, got a lime tree in a pot, and a kaffir lime. And also put some more ruby saltbush down the end there. Just using a little bit of space. So down we go. Okay, take two. I went and recorded all this stuff and it didn't record because I didn't press the right button. Oh well. Right, so here we are heading down the back, and a bit of a plug. Lots of pea straw here, and this magic stuff. Add it into your horrible sand that we've got in Perth, and it turns it into something usable. So Green Life Soil, great bunch, really good products. Much better than that other stuff up there, which is pretty terrible, but it fills pots and you can build it up. So here we go. We've got Mexican sour gherkins, some kiwi fruit. These are olive trees I've grown from seed from my ungrafted olive tree, which I'll show you up the back a bit later. Haven't fruited yet, but they're looking good. And we've got some banana passion fruit and normal passion fruit up here. I wondered for a long time what I was going to do with this bit, and now that we're covering it with fruit trees and vines, lots of kiwi fruits, and what else we got in there? Raspberries, tomatillo? No. Tamarello tree. And a bit of shade for growing some ginger and asparagus, rhubarb. There's a pea straw. Highly recommend those guys, they're great. And I'm not sponsored or anything by them. It's my first non-work related video actually. Okay, so going on here, lots of little bits and pieces, lots more asparagus. This is interesting. It's only a couple of years old, grown from seed. Have a look at this fella. Very nice spear coming up there. Very tasty, but I haven't harvested much because they're very young. Lots of different things here. Rock melon, a sick passion fruit. There's not much I can do with that one, I'm afraid. And this is my seed raising area, or where I start repotting stuff. A few flowers around. Going to put these guys out in the other greenhouse. And there's some tomatoes over there that my dog keeps peeing on, so they're dying. But this is my seed planting area. It's a real mess. So I'll go up here. I grow everything from seed. Very rarely buy any seedlings. And this is where I do the seed raising. My little greenhouse. A cute little thing, this one. Got it from Bunnings. Not a bad little greenhouse. Has lasted quite a few years and it's still going strong. So up here is a bit of a shaded area. Got the strawberries in the hanging baskets there. Another one of those olive trees that I've raised. Given a few away too. And down here we've got some pawpaw trees, or papaya. I can never get that straight. Almost lost them with a fungus disease, but managed to save them. More figs and asparagus, blueberries and rhubarb there. I'm just growing some beans down there, and some more of those trombone zucchinis, which I have planted way too many of. I've got dozens and dozens of them, I'll show you. So heading down the back where the main bit is. We've got my grapevines growing on this fence. A bit of a mix of stuff in there, cucumbers and passion fruit and sunflowers. These raised beds here were basically just to isolate off the dog run. But I filled it with passion fruit and rhubarb and the odd tomato. So I had left over. Love the sunflowers around here because it attracts the bees. And that's a butternut pumpkin in there. And we come up here. This is my new greenhouse, and I use this for the more established plants and stuff that needs to be left to germinate for much longer time, like the ruby saltbush, which I didn't mention. I've got outside as well. So there's somewhere to grow the stuff. Got to finish the flooring. Just chucked some old bricks in there at the moment. Kaffir lime and plum tree. There's another guava, apricot tree, and tangelo tree. Lots of figs. Hopefully they'll be good this year. They were a bit tasteless last year. As we can see, decent sort of size. And one rotten one. Here's my citrus trees. It's a lemon and orange. Lots of berries over here. So boysenberry and not raspberry, blackberry. Yes, is it blackberry? I don't know. Sweet potatoes gone wild. It's everywhere. Little patch of corn here. And up the back there, that's the olive tree that I got the seeds from. So it hasn't fruited for a while, but it was very good when it did. A couple of apple trees down the back there, Granny Smith and a pink lady. And cabbages and cucumbers and stuff. Well, one failure. One real failure anyway. This nectarine tree. Fruit rots on it. It's terrible. Kaffir lime. Another kaffir lime. Why did I say that? Curry leaf tree. And that's my lime tree and a bay leaf tree in the back there. I'm growing some eggplants down here. I usually get fairly bug infested, but managed to salvage a fair few. Lots of tomatoes and some late onions and lots of weeds. These are trombone zucchinis. You can see it's broken my not very strong archway that should look like that. It actually looks like that. But I've picked a heap of them already. And as we can see in there, we've got more. Lots more growing down in there. They're everywhere. So some cabbages here. This is my junk compost area. Do keep some water in that compost, but it's mostly weeds, and I'll leave it for a couple of years and it's okay to use. 2 or 3 years and the seeds have gone, either germinated or died. So heading down here is our beans. Got lots of beans at the moment. Got to come out and harvest them again. Those are my tomatillos. They make the best relish chutney type thing I've ever tasted. Really, really good. Down the back here, I just picked another zucchini from there today. But this is a really interesting herb called savoury. Sort of like mixed herbs, but very, very nice. And a weird tree here. Forms a locust type fruit with a loose seed in the middle. About the same size and shape and colour as a locust. But I have no idea what it is. And I've no idea whether I want to keep it. But all fruits at once. That's it there. So you can see these flowers. It might be a weird sort of locust. I don't know. Yeah, look at those trombone zucchinis. Definitely overplanted. Okay, so that's about it. Lots of these paper wasps, I tend to leave them alone. They leave me alone. Another wasp over there. Lots of wildlife. And there's some dill seed I'll have to harvest. Great for pickling. Oh, it's all collapsing under its own weight. It's the cherry tomatoes coming along. And we'll head back in. So that's it. I try to manage this on about 4 hours a week, which doesn't work terribly well. As you can see by the number of weeds and things that are getting a bit overgrown. But come retirement, I'll do a bit more. Got a couple of earthworm farms, they're great. And we'll head back into our little cottage in suburban Perth on a rather warm day. Probably about 35, 38 degrees. Yeah, lots of compost bins. And this ornamental cherry is actually worth a mention. It's a huge tree, very soft wood. But around here, the black cockies love it. They go in there, they tear it to pieces, drop lots of the branches down, eat the berries, and most importantly, leave my fruit trees alone. A good sacrificial plant to have for them. Never buy one of those. Absolute junk. Engine blocks up clags all the time. When it works, it's really good, but it doesn't work very often. Okay, that's it. Hope you enjoy this. A couple of things I picked this morning.
So why is there, I'll take another one. You want me to take one?
Say goodbye, Ruth. Rufus, say goodbye.